Welcome back, Smooth and Crypto. I'm your host, Maxwell Smooth. This is the Felix Protocol founder, Revo. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and this has been kind of a long time coming. I think people in general have been looking forward to hearing more about Felix and getting on streams and stuff. And when you put that post on Twitter, I just was really excited to learn more about it. Kind of get you on stream and get on your calendar, if you will. And it seems like you got a nice little week running up.
Yeah, I mean it's been really busy. Let's just say I'm kind of living on kind of 5 hours of sleep at the moment, just trying to get everything sorted. So I've got a few bags under the old eyes, but it's been real fun. And as you know, the bull run's on its way. I mean, if you look at the Bitcoin price at the moment, it's flying. The overall market cap is nearly 3 trillion, I think, at the moment. So that's going to fly above that. So it's all about working hard and just trying to get this protocol going and see where it takes us. But I'm really excited working with a great team. And we've just been full on pushing it through. And the devs are there. I think they finished the coding. They're going through the check-in at the moment, and then we just need to make sure that we're absolutely watertight. And that was one of the first things that I sort of said to them. Any of these protocols on the Titan system has got to be as watertight as possible, and they're aware of that and they're experienced. So I'm pretty comfortable with that kind of aspect of it. But so it's now a case of getting the message out there and telling the world about it, and hopefully getting some interaction with the code once it's live.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that as time goes on, you're so consumed with building this and working out game theory and talking with the devs and stuff like that. It's almost surreal, the thought of even releasing it. It gets to that point, right? And I know you've been working on it for a while, so I think people are pretty excited to hear about it. And you talk about Bitcoin and the bull market. It couldn't be more better of a time to not only release a project, but just be in crypto, right? I mean, Bitcoin overtook gold or overtook silver's market cap recently. And that's I think a massive undervalued statement that no one's really saying a lot. So really excited to see kind of how not only the bull run goes, but how these Titan protocols run within the bull run. And we've had a little bit of a pullback, but in all honesty, I really think that's super healthy. It's only going to better the ecosystem, in my opinion. And, just seeing where these new projects fit in. And I think Felix has something going on about it that not other projects really have going. So I think it's a really nice corner of the market, if you will. And I'm just interested to hear more about it.
Yeah, well, so that kind of leads me on to sort of trying to give my elevator pitch of what Felix is. And how do I describe it? I think the best way of describing it is a randomized monthly staking protocol where users buy and hold the token each month to activate the black box, which we'll talk about in a bit. So it's a really simple protocol. Users literally there'll be a 14-day mint period where users will exchange Titan X for Felix, and there's some other interactions there as well that will hopefully get some users excited for this protocol. So I mean, the black box is one of the key features of the protocol. The black box is a smart contract. And the idea with the black box is it's going to contain the economic energy of the project. So the more funds that are inside the black box creates even more activity and noise. And though that activity and noise will reverberate around the crypto space and it will be like a magnet. Well, you know what we're like as crypto users. You know, if we hear or see something, you know, day 20, what happened to me? Titan X came on my radar, and I was in. You know, I researched it like crazy, and it was pretty obvious because my kind of background is data analysis. So I'm kind of looking at graphs and figures and stuff like that all day long, and I can see trends straight away and figure stuff out pretty quick. And as soon as I heard and saw what Jake was planning, looked at the white paper, I was like, damn, this is good. And what I was trying to create with Felix was something that was my number one aim was to create something that's going to be like going to bring a whole mass of people into the space. So obviously to Felix, but also to get Felix, they need Titan X. So I'm looking at the Titan X community to get the flywheel going. But I really do believe, and speaking with the devs, we're pretty excited about it, that once we can get that flywheel going and generate enough energy in that black box, economic energy into that black box, it will just start attracting people from, well, wherever, Solana, Ethereum, you know, every part of crypto, they'll be having a look in. And the way that I see this protocol is, I've got an analogy. I was on a stream ages ago, but the white paper wasn't as good as it is now. Changed a lot to it. Obviously, working with these devs have really helped me develop it. But the analogy is still the same. The concept is still the same. So this protocol is like walking into a casino, buying a refundable subscription minus a small tax, and then playing roulette for free. And on top of that, receiving rewards if the casino does well. So it's something that I thought to myself, would I like to play it? Would it be something that I would join in? Would I, you know, exchange my precious Titan X, because it's precious, you know, yep. Especially if you've got it. So I looked at, you know, when I was thinking about this protocol, I was thinking, right, okay, I like it. Would I exchange the Titan X that I've got, that I've minted, and that I'm I'm looking after? Obviously, I'm into certain other projects as well in the Titan X ecosystem, but they've got to spark my interest. And I think this one would, and well, it will, because I'm going to be taking some of my Titan X and actually minting. So for me, it has elements of some of the gameplay and some of the other crypto projects that I really like. Obviously, Titan X, brilliant. It's kept me, and I know it's kept you hooked, because I've literally for about a year you've been doing daily videos, and I remember waking up every morning and listening to your video. It was brilliant. It was like the first thing I did while I was making breakfast and what have you. I was like just putting the video on. I was like, right, there's Smoothing Crypto, play, and you were just giving the feedback about what was going on, and I was just like, I knew it was going to dip, you know, the price and all the rest of it. I was fine with that. I knew it's coded in to do that. So Titan X was one of the projects that I was influenced by, obviously. Then you've got PTGC, which is I know Crypto Kindness loves that one as well as Titan X, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then there's another one that I don't think gets talked about that much within the Titan X field, which is Karate Combat, which is basically they're basically fighters live, and it's on the Hedera network. But I like the concept that you can actually, it's basically up-only gaming. So you play, but you can't actually lose. So a similar kind of thing to this is the gaming is you mint your tokens for the first 14 days. After the 14 days, you buy it off Uniswap. But you will always have the tokens, and you can't actually lose. There'll be a tax after the 14 days. There will be a tax, a 6% tax. So you pay that, but that's like a community tax, goes back into the system, a little bit like PTGC, and I think that's a 6% or 5% tax. and it goes into the system. But also what that tax does is it prevents huge players just taking the price up and down. So it kind of stabilizes the price a bit, and the bots, if the bots come, then well, fine, they'll just be paying the 6% in and out. So for me, it's also going to be a token that's going to be become scarce, because it's going to be extreme deflationary as well. So we're going to do a heavy burn on it as well. It's all the details are in the white paper, and yeah, we're just really excited that the whole thing can be pulled together, and every 30 days there's going to be a countdown. So on the UI there's going to be a 30-day countdown. So that will start on day 1, and it will run through, even though minting is day 1 to 14, it will still carry on running, but it will start on that day 1. So on that day, when it gets to day 30, the black box is basically filled with loads of algorithms, and it's driven by the VRF as well, which is on Chainlink, the crypto, the big, corporate crypto. So it's really secure, it's really random, so it's going to be, it's going to be solid in that aspect of things. And then on the 30 days, we are then going to release to the community randomly, so not every wallet, just a small selection of wallets to start with, will be there'll be a distribution, so there'll be an airdrop. So depends on how much is actually in that black box. The more that's obviously in that black box to start with, obviously the bigger the distribution and the bigger the flywheel will begin. It's a protocol that, if, for example, it didn't get a massive amount of energy in the black box in the first month or two, it's one of those that actually could grow over time. So I'm not over reliant on the first month, but it would be great if the community did partake, because then it starts the flywheel. And the way that I've kind of designed it is that when that flywheel goes, I've posted on X quite a few times. Once that flywheel starts in motion, it's almost like I've seen there was like an invention that I saw which reminds me a little bit of this, and it was made out of magnets. And there was an inventor that, it's on YouTube, you can look it up, and it's basically, once he started it, it just didn't stop. It just went and it just ran itself, and that's how I've kind of designed this. So once it starts, it will run itself. After the 14 days, the buy and sell tax will be doing its thing. So it will be burning Titan X. It will be burning its own token as well, Felix, and it will be putting economic energy into the black box as well. So it will do those 3 key things, and by doing that, as the black box grows, obviously there'll be a distribution after 30 days. It won't completely get blown, so there'll be algorithms to sort of reduce the amount that's going to get exposed to the community. But what it will do is it will, as word gets out, and obviously if, for example, if I partook into this protocol, and say, for example, I bought some of the tokens and then suddenly I staked them, but you don't have to do anything to stake them, but it's just literally buying them. So there's no kind of, it will still be in the user's wallet, but it will be remembered by the black box protocol. So the black box will remember the wallets, and when they've bought a certain amount, which I think is 300 million Titan X, they will then go into the pool, and then randomized will be selected, and then once those are selected, obviously, if I was to receive one of those and it was a substantial amount, the idea probably would be that person will go on X and start advertising it. So it will be one of those, and over time it will get so many people in. But the thing is, the people that don't actually receive any random boards, will still retain the tokens in their wallet, and it will be a hyper deflationary token as well. So it will be a, potentially a store of wealth if it goes the right way. But there's no guarantee, obviously, as a founder of price or anything like that. But it's kind of the way that it could go. So obviously, if the token is more scarce, and there's a lot of volume, then that will drive that flywheel. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And there's also something else that I didn't mention, and that is in the 14-day minting period as well, there is something else that we're adding into the protocol, which is an NFT. And now I know a lot of crypto users, probably from the last cycle, get a bit concerned when they hear the word NFT.
Yeah.
It's almost like a muddied name, isn't it, NFT?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
when I was speaking to the devs about it, basically what it will be is it will be an NFT that they can buy for 1.5 billion Titan X, and that will forever remember that NFT. So the black box will forever remember that NFT for 1.5 billion Titan X, which sounds a lot. However, what it will do is it will give users a 20% plus. So if their wallet gets selected in the random selection from the black box every 30 days, so long as they've interacted with the code, i.e. staked 300 million, or no, I think after the first 30 days, it turns to 200 million. So it's between 200 to 300 million. It's kind of clear in the white paper. Then they will then get remembered by the black box, and also their NFT will be remembered as well. So they will then automatically get, say, for example, if they were going to get, for example, $2,000 equivalent of Titan X, if they held the NFT, they would get an extra 20% on the top. But when we were working it out, the potential energy in that black box could be a substantial amount more, and it probably will be. In the minting phase, 20% of all the Titan X, 20% of what users put in will go into the black box. So it's going to be, hopefully, it's going to be an awful lot of energy that goes in to start with. Another thing about the black box as well, we're going to leave an address there as well. So if there are any generous whales over time, which you never know, it could be me and you, when Titan X starts flying, it might be like, right, okay, I might put $100,000 dollars in there just to kick it off. So it's always going to be open for when bull run situation happens. So if it doesn't happen in the first month or two, further down the line, me or any random person could say, right, okay, I'm going to stick something in there. So it's almost like a bit of a way that we can kickstart that flywheel. It's all about kickstarting the flywheel. But what I would say to Titan X users is, if we get that flywheel going in this protocol, and we were to bring in 100,000 users, say, for example, then imagine what that could do for the whole system. I mean, they will come eventually anyway. They'll come, whether I do this protocol or they will come anyway, because it's just such a good, Titan X is such a good ecosystem. Mm-hmm. It's such a good project. Titan X, Dragon X, Hydra, all these others, and they're brilliant, all of them. But this one might just kickstart it and bring in a substantial amount of people. And if that happens, it will just have a massive impact for literally all of us, holders, build on Titan X protocols, Titan X, it would just create such hysteria and mayhem. And this protocol's also got that kind of narrative that it could compete with the meme coins, and I think to compete with the meme coins, you need something that's really just, wild, almost something that's going to create a hysteria where it's just going to, completely shoot off into the stars. And that was my thinking when I was kind of coming up with this when I was coming up with this protocol, these were some of the things that I was thinking of. It's got to be something that's going to be sticky. It's got to be something where users are not going to be losing their money. Obviously, the price of a cryptocurrency digital asset can go down, obviously, but not going to. They're still going to have that store. So if it develops over time, they're still going to do all right out of it. And that was my aim. I was like thinking to myself, would I put something in where I'm not sure that that thing's gonna go down? Obviously, it still could go down, but if we can get the flywheel going, it's more likely gonna bring in a substantial amount of users, and that would be an absolute dream come true if we could achieve that. Because not just personally for our project, but just for the whole system, and try and steal some of those meme coiners, because I've been going into some of their chats as well, because they love a degen project. They really do. And I've kind of got an understanding of the kind of people they are. There's some really cool people in there, actually. They're really cool. But the only thing is with meme coins is they're, as opposed to the Titan X ecosystem, is the Titan X ecosystem, I feel, is giving people a real opportunity for real investment, shall we say. You interact with the code of Titan X and the build on Titan X protocols, and it just feels fair, whereas the meme coins, we know that a lot of them meme coins, the founders are taking a whole bag of supply, and we know that they're going to get dumped on at some point, some of the later users. So
and there's a lot of sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's a lot of meme coins that, people just get such insider information right before it launches, or the code's already launched, but no one's heard of it yet, kind of ordeal. And, a lot of things, but nothing. And there has to be that kind of investing going on to shed light on what we're doing over here and the fairness that we have. And it's just going to be something that I love, the ethos that we're bringing, because every single project, people are going to know about it. If you have your ear to the chats, ear to the streams, right? You see on Titan X Hub, right? So people know it's coming. And if there's a good ROI, that will not be something people hide, right? Everybody's checking every website for the ROIs of that day, that night, whatever the case may be. And it's going to be something that, with Felix, that it seems like the more interaction that it has, the better ability that it does. But even with steady, slow increase of users, it still will do what you're designing it to do.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's one of those things when you're kind of new to building. I think Jake's probably got more of an idea. He's obviously an experienced builder, a genius in the space. He's got a real clear idea of what each protocol is going to do, and whereas this one, we've kind of we've looked at potential figures and things like that, but we just don't really know. But one thing that we do know is if we can get enough energy into that black box, then there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, right, okay, so I just need to put the equivalent of $200 or whatever dollars in. I don't lose my $200, but I get to be exposed to whatever might come out of it. So and at the start as well, if there's not hundreds of people, it's the chance is pretty good.
And
for users to maybe get investment, and it's also quite exciting as well, because what we've got is we're going to have on the UI, we're going to have the countdown. What else have we got on it? We've got some other things as well. Yeah, we've got so the black box is obviously filled with the algorithms and mathematical calculations. It's completely randomized with the VRF, which is through Chainlink. And I think it's going to be like a magnetic force for users, and will market itself. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun and addictive watching the 30-day countdown recurring every 30 days. We'll also have the the successful wallet addresses and stuff like that. And I think the total amount inside the black box will be visible as well. So it could potentially be relentless FOMO. It will be like people keeping an eye on that and going, right, okay, so it's almost like they've staked their 300 million Titan X, and then they're like, right, okay, waiting for that 30 days. Are they going to get a little surprise in their wallet? I mean, it might be a very, very big surprise as well.
Yep.
Some of the algorithms and things that we've been working through are just like, what are we really looking at that figure? If it gets that, if it gets that much economic energy, it could be absolutely crazy. So yeah, I just think there's got so much to it. It's so potentially sticky that it could be another. You never know. Not another. I was going to say another Titan X, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far, because Titan X has literally kept me engaged for how many days now? 370 or something like that.
Yep.
Something like that. I mean, I've been engaged. Now. Well, okay, I joined maybe day 20, but I've literally been engaged in it. Right from today, and I can't really see it stopping, because it's just such an exciting experiment, isn't it? And we know what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. Yep. It's like a real thriller.
Yeah, it's you can anticipate it, but you never know. And just proven, right? Day 280, right? Everybody thought there was going to be a massive dip. There wasn't a massive dip, right? Day 369, we all thought it was going to be a crazy massive pump, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? So, and now we're going into hyperdeflationary and we're having dips. So it's like all of it's like right when you think you know what's going to happen, it's the exact opposite that happens. And it really brings you back down to reality at the end of the day, seeing like, okay, all of this math going on, all of these catalysts, and the market is still irrational, no matter how no matter how many milestones you hit, it's still irrational.
Yeah. But you know what really makes me laugh though is Jake's always got something up his sleeve, and whatever we do as like kind of independent builders and things like that, and projects that we put forward, I just don't think the guy's going to stop. I just don't think him, Eric, and some of those guys. I don't think they're going to stop. They are not going to stop until we are all. I mean, if we just hold what we've got, I'm kind of using some of mine and buying some off the market as well to interact with some of these other protocols, because they're so good. But the main body is just hold, and it's going to happen, And then we've got other things to consider, like X28 and all these other ones that I'm just like, I'm looking through every day, and I'm like, wow, these are just incredible. I need some more dry powder to put in. But yeah, it's just so exciting. No, exactly. There's always something that I'm like really tempted. I'm like, oh, I've got to get some money to put into this or into that. It's just a crazy system. And if you think about all the builds, I mean, you're building something, I'm building something, and there's loads of people planning to build. I mean, I've seen in on message boards and stuff like that, there's a lot of people building, and I just think that was why one of my main aims with this was to think about how I could try and help the system by pulling in loads of users. And I think that's my number one thing with this protocol. If I can do that, I'll do well. This project will do well, but also, once we get the eyes on it with many thousands of people, that would be fantastic. And I think it would just kick everything off. And it would go. I mean, it's going to go crazy anyway in the bull run, because when money starts flowing from Bitcoin, some of them blue chips, and starts flowing into the lower coins, they'll do the chain links, they'll do the XRPs, they'll make some profits out of that, and then suddenly they're like, well, where do we go next? Oh, what's going on in Titan X, in the ecosystem?
Yep.
Let's have a pump there, and that's how it all flows in. It's just going to be incredible.
Yeah,
so
and whether we have hundreds of thousands of users right now on Titan X, multiple different communities know about it, and they're waiting for big confirmation that, hey, okay, what they were saying was correct. Like, just for instance, Dragon X, right? There was less than 1,000 users. It absolutely ramped up, and now they have over 3,000 users, and it's still being gate kept by Titan X ecosystem as a whole. But we see the Morales polls on Twitter and stuff like that, and big influencers in the crypto space talking about Dragon X, Titan X, Volt, for instance, and it's going to be something that people have their eye on it right now. And no matter what happens, if these smart contracts continue to do what they're designed to do and more projects release and stuff, it's only a matter of time before they say, okay, I cannot stop fade. I can't fade this anymore. I have to get in. I have to talk about this. And, the best marketing is green candle marketing. And once an investor gets in there and says, dang, I made a 2X or 3X, now they're hooked. Everybody that makes any type of money in any project is like ride or die for that project. And we're all sitting, if you've been here since the bottom, we're all sitting right now, even with the crazy pullback, we're still up 6X almost on Titan X, and not to mention all these other projects. So I think it's only a matter of time, and I think Felix is going to be a nice added project to what we already have building right now.
I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. I hope that. I hope that I've been met with a lot of positive comments, and people sending me DMs and stuff like that, and saying, yeah, they're going to engage with it and things like that. And I've, some kind of big players in there as well, which I'm really pleased about. So I just hope if that does happen and we can get as much as possible into that black box, and then just like see the craziness happen. I mean, it is a bit, when I was planning it and I was working through the numbers and stuff, I was actually thinking to myself, shit, this could really like blow and hit international news. And I was getting a bit delusional with it. I was like thinking, shit, what if this actually gets too big? But, what would you actually do? What would you do? I'd have to go into hiding or something, or get a face transplant or something like that. But no, I mean, it's one of those that I'm comfortable that we'll do well. But if the first 14 days goes really well, then we could be really in with a really big protocol that really helps. It's just part of that Titan X build on Titan X protocols flywheel. But I think it's one of those. It's like when you've got a certain cog in the engine that's like, it might be small, but it makes a big difference. To the crank and like really gets things going and started. That would be absolutely brilliant. That would be a dream come true if I could achieve that. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? But yeah.
And one thing I will say is that you're a part of the ethos. You're a part of the community. People know you on Twitter, right? You're retweeting, tweeting, right? All this stuff. You're in a lot of telegrams and stuff like that. So it just seems like the people who follow the ethos of what we're kind of doing get at least some good adoption in the beginning. And it's been about 2 months straight of that, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. And, what you have as well is kind of like a little bit longer term of a minting period, I would say, the ability to kind of get in there and stake as well. So I think it's only a matter of time. If not, we've seen big numbers in the beginning, and if there is a big influx in the beginning for Felix specifically, it could get really crazy really fast, and that's only going to perpetuate everything even more.
Yeah, and that's kind of my vision. And when I'm talking to people in the Titan X space, I'm kind of trying to say that. But obviously, there's no guarantees. But I'm trying to say that if you do help this flywheel go, I just can't see it stopping. We got the algorithms built properly. I mean, that took a long time to do. There's actually been a chat within our team about whether I'm going to release more information about what's behind those protocols, so people can the black box, so people can see more what's in. But I don't know. Sometimes I think a little bit of mystery is quite a good thing, so that people don't really know exactly how it operates. However, it will be completely fair.
Yep.
You know, the distributions and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's really exciting. Now, launch date is, we're probably looking, it depends on obviously the all the security aspects of it. So we're going to get all the testing, like I mentioned before, and you know, proper audits. And if everything goes well, then we're probably looking at about 2 weeks. But we don't want to rush it. We just got to make sure that it's right. And when it is right, then we will release it and try and give the community a bit of advance as well.
Yeah, and really just, I know a lot of people, you know, obviously me and you, especially, right? We're on Titan X Hub a constant amount of times, and just having that countdown clock, even if it's like 2 days out or whatever, people are all over it. Like, oh my God, there's a change to the website. There is a new project releasing. What is this project? And then they start looking into videos and whatnot. So I don't know if you know, you're going to put any videos out on Twitter and stuff like that, but a nice, you know, just lead up videos, or a short, maybe 1 or 2 minute video on your pinned on your Twitter would be a really good thing as well. Just to say, hey, here's the quick minute, 2 minute elevator pitch on it. If you're interested in, you know, listening and investing into it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the beauty of it as well is, even though when you look at the white paper, there is some complexities, because obviously you want to give the community a full explanation about what you're doing. And it was funny actually, because when I was working through the white paper, and me and the devs were putting more and more pages in, and then I saw Stream and Jake was going, actually guys, white papers should be 1 pages, and I was like, oh shit, mine's about 7 pages. But
Yeah.
I had to put it in. I had to put it in because I felt like I wanted to give a full picture, full story. Whereas I think now, when he puts protocols in, I think all of us guys, all of the Titan X supporters, we know him, we understand him, we know what he's doing, kind of thing. Whereas I think for me, because I'm a new builder, I had to explain the situation a bit more, give a bit more of a story, a few more hooks. Because I think with his protocols, obviously people are just going to launch in, you know, they will, because you know, he's the founder, he's making something that we know is going to be good. Whereas us, we kind of have to, I suppose, sell it a bit more to the community and try and persuade people. So yeah, it is quite full. However, the key message really is it is a simple protocol. And I know Crypto Kindness has talked before about the easy button. Oh, I've frozen. About the easy button, and it is going to be similar to that, really. To engage with the protocol, in the minting phase, it will literally be buy from the website. So that will be number 1, and then after 14 days is over, buy it off Uniswap. So it's as easy as any, you know, kind of meme coin or anything like that. It is easy to partake, and I think that's the key. Even though there are some, you know, detailed things that can or can't happen. You know, if I was a user and I every month put in you know, 200 the equivalent of 200 million, swap 200 million Titan X or bought Felix off Uniswap, I am going to be in the mix for the black box protocol. So it's that easy, really. But the key thing to this is it's every month. So there's a refresh every single month. So that countdown. So if for example I've put in 200 million Titan X in for the first month, that gets refreshed for the next month. So I will still hold the tokens, but the following month there will be a new selection, so a brand new selection. So I would then have to put in another 200 for that second month. So it's not just about the staking is basically like it's almost like a 30-day stake, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah,
So it's very
absolutely.
simple.
And one thing
Literally
I'll
is.
add as well is with the white paper thing specifically, Jake said, it'd be awesome if it was one page, this and that, but Titan X has 13 pages. So it's like he had to sell it as well, right? And he had to be very thorough with what he's doing.
Yeah,
So if you could explain it in one page, then good. But a lot of this stuff is a little too complex just to put on one page. And we don't want to be doom scrolling white papers either. So we just
yeah,
want
yeah,
a good few concise
yeah,
points about this section and then that section. So
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. So yeah, maybe 2 weeks, and then we'll see where we are. But obviously, I'll put it out and let people know. So I know we're talking about Felix, but you're putting a protocol out as well, aren't you?
yep.
What's going on with that?
Yeah. So basically, we are, I would say, a couple weeks, right? Everything is 2 weeks in crypto. But
It is.
a couple weeks or so, right? 2 or 3 weeks, just to be different. Before we go to audits, we're doing some different things with it, and I think the implementation that we're adding to Flare is going to be pretty. I think it's going to be really a really good narrative and get some good eyeballs on it. It's going to be built on. It's part of the Inferno Kingdom, if you will,
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
and so it's going to be. I'm working with the team Accelerate and Decentra on it, and yeah. So we were gonna release the white paper kind of this week, and we still might, but we gotta dial in kind of the game theory behind these changes that we did before we
Mhm.
really put out there. But what I will say is Flare is going to be sick, I think, and the more time that goes on, if the better it gets. Period. So I've always loved
I will definitely.
deflationary tokens,
Yeah,
and being in one of the earliest hyperdeflationary tokens, and this we don't even need to bring it up. It's so dead at this point. Um, I caught a huge I caught a huge amount of X's on it, and it blew my mind. And it was like, oh crap, this is what deflationary is, and we're going to be hyper deflationary on Titan X eventually. And there's so much more buy pressure, and this was during the Wall Street bets thing, and it was just going nuts. So
Mhm.
I the more time that goes on with Flare, the better it gets, and it's going to be really clean UI. I think, without seeing other people's, I think my UI is our team's UI is going to be just very, very cool, very clean, easy on the eyes. And, I'm just super pumped to have the opportunity not only to finally release a project, but with a community that's not just kind of there for, pump and dumps and stuff like that. So this is kind of in my opinion, a grown-up community, not really here for just like a quick little 2x and run out. I think a lot of people are here for long-term glory and
Long time, yeah.
wealth generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I made a little tag the other week, and I called it the 1 cent gang.
Yep.
Because I really do think. I mean, I think actually, if you look, if you zoom out and you go further down the line with all the builders we've got, and we've got some great projects coming through, and also great projects with only 20,000 people at the moment. So
Yep.
obviously, at some point, that's going to get to 100,000, maybe 200,000. Maybe it's going to, spark off in China or something like that, and then suddenly you could be talking millions. Um, and then also, there's only a fraction of people in crypto at the moment. You know,
Yep.
I talk to a lot of my friends and family and stuff, and I'll tell you now, they're absolutely clueless.
Yep.
Absolutely clueless. I was speaking to my boys' football parents, really nice guys and stuff. Hopefully, they're not hearing me talk now. They probably aren't, because But they literally they knew very little about it. They've heard of Bitcoin. That's it. And
Yep.
I was like, wow, we are so early. It's brilliant,
Yeah. And
and we're
like
building
on a
something. We're building this foundation in Titan X. You know, obviously, I mean, the story of Titan X is brilliant. I mean, Jake created this thing. It needed us to, you know, to put loads of money into it to mint it, and then suddenly we had this ETH stack, which is still there, half of it, isn't it, in the V1?
Yep.
And and then we've got all these other things like that are kind of getting that flywheel going, and it's just humming over at the minute. It's like an engine that's like, you know, it's like one of these supercars that you just turn it on, you're not driving it yet, but you're just humming it ready.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that it's going to race at some point. And when it does, we're going to be the holders. And I honestly think that 1 billion Titan X and small amounts of other tokens, probably including yours and mine at some point, will be worth a lot of money, probably.
Yeah,
You know,
not financial advice, but God willing,
no,
I
it's
hope
not.
so.
No, I mean, it's not